my views, right? Sprinkle like or two. Cover it in comments in a song, old or new. The Bandy Man can because he wrestles with his mic to makes the audio sound good. Who can take a guitar, rap it with a man, soak it in the sun and make a podcast with two men? The Bandy Man, the Shine Man, the Shining Bandy Men can. The Shining Bandy Men can because they wrestle with the mute. Now we can't tell if the audio sounds good. Shindig makes no mistakes, grabbing his tea with a wifey handoff. Talk about your spoiled men, y'all. Who can take tomorrow, dip in a live stream, separate the bad vibes and light up all our screens? The Bandy Man, the Shine Man, the Shining Bandy Men can. The Shining Bandy Men can because they fixed the mic and mute, and now the audio sounds good. So now the world sounds good, cause the Shining Bandy Men think it should.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I appreciate everybody being here. You guys knew that I wasn't going to let everybody get away with not hearing Sister B's song that she so kindly made up and done for us and sent over and just shared so proudly. Today, we're going to be talking with a really good friend of mine, my best friend, Mr. Zachary. ZMB. You can find him at ZMB. I encourage anybody that hasn't been over to follow him to go ahead and go follow him. We're going to be coming out with more of these, and he's going to be coming out with more stuff as well. But we're going to be talking about PTSD. We're going to be talking about it from a realistic standpoint, as well as from a standpoint of, numbers and what science has to say, but also what us as men have to say that's living through it. And it's going to be totally non-inclusive. It's not about men or women. It's about PTSD in general and the effects and things that maybe we can do to help solve some of those things. Here for just a few minutes, I'm going to say hi to everybody. I'm going to encourage anyone that if you have any questions for Zachary or myself or Shine along the way, then please feel free to put them in the comments. Just know that going to be kind of more focus based, and we're going to be talking. So don't think that we're ignoring or that we're not trying to get to you, because we are going to take that time to come through and address those types of things. But it is a little bit different format than what maybe we normally do with the good vibes. Obviously it's always good vibes, but we're going to really try and dig in. So welcome everybody. Appreciate y'all being here. I see you, brother Clint. Hey, Guy and Shine gang, taking me a break sandwich with hitting the track. Yeah, man, you keep going, brother. You keep going. Hey, shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you very much for sharing it. If any of you haven't shared the live, please feel free. Please go ahead and share it if you don't mind. Hit the like button for us. But shout out to everybody. We appreciate y'all being here. And today it's going to be all about PTSD. Well, I say all about it. That's a big subject, guys, and we all know that. We're gonna start digging in anyway, in our way, and I think that it'll probably be one of those things where we're gonna have to come back and touch on this a little bit more often and give it the credence that it deserves. But this is our start at doing so. So shout out to everybody here. Appreciate all of you. I see you down there, brother Shine. See Zachary down there. I see everybody's in the house. Cool deal. I'll be bringing you guys up here in just a minute, saying hi to everyone. Brother Zach, I see you down there. You're ready. I see Brother Shine. I know that you can see me. I know Zachary can't, but we're going to be coming up here in just a second and get our layout proper. So let me start bringing people. Let me start bringing Zachary up, and then all right, let me come down here, get Shine, bro. All right, let's do like this. All right, Brother Zach, you're on mute, my man. You're gonna have to hit your mute. You're good. Um, there you go, my
There
man.
you go.
Yeah,
Hey, what's up,
yeah.
Shine? How you today, brother?
I'm doing good, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, you keeping them good vibes going, I guess, huh?
Good stuff, man.
That's
Great to
good.
see you. How you doing, guy?
Doing excellent, man. Appreciate having you guys here. I was just giving a little introduction. I'm glad you was able to make it here. Shout out to everybody. Appreciate everybody coming and joining us today. Is a little bit different format than what you guys might be used to seeing me and Shine do on the regular basis with good vibes. We try to always just bring uplifting and just try to have fun and everything. And of course, today we're going to have fun and we're going to have good vibes, but we're going to talk about real things. We're going to talk about PTSD. We're going to talk about focus based on trauma PTSD today. I feel like that also in the future we may. I know that there will be also a drug abuse based, trauma to the brain. I felt like before we started this, I had decided that it's better for us to focus on one. Let's talk about it and then give
Yep.
the credence to the next one because they
Yeah,
both
man.
deserve an equal amount of time and they both are going to be related once we dig in on this and we talk about this. And I think folks that also follow along with the next version on the drug addiction side and how it also affects the brain and the things that we have to expect. If we put ourselves to it, we have to expect that there's going to be time and there's going to be things that we have to go through that may be uncomfortable to work and get past it. And there's certain things that we can do. So welcome to my friends, these two gentlemen, the one in the middle, Zachary Bowman. He's my best friend of almost
Hey
30
guys,
years now.
how are you?
So this is a real life relationship for me. Since he was 14 and I was 19, we have been pretty
We were
much two
kids
peas in a
together, guys.
two kids.
That's
So
crazy, ain't it, Shine? We're
it's
old now.
Hey, man.
it is, and now Brother Shine has become part of my crew as far as what I list as a family and a friend. And we do the Shine, Shine and Guy and Shine, however you want to say it. We do the Guy and Shine good vibes in the morning. We teamed up together and just decided to try something different that we didn't really see others leaning in on and just be an example and also just enjoy the journey together and figure out
There you go.
how do you create a real life relationship and basically what I'm finding out is just like in real life you just
Work.
you be consistent and you be a person of your word and you be stand forward and you stand tall when you talk to one another and you say what you got to say and you don't always agree and you don't always eye to eye, but you always come at each other with a respectful manner and it works.
Yes,
It
sir.
works and
Yeah,
that's
man.
the way it has to be.
Man, I know people that have completely different ideologies than me, and I have no qualms with that.
Indeed,
You
indeed.
know, I'm like,
I
hey,
agree.
good for you, dude. If that's what you believe wholeheartedly and you're gonna give your life for it, but I got what I got and you got what you got, and we can agree to disagree and
That's
hug each other
that's
and
the main
love one
thing.
another and walk away,
And learn from each other. You
and
know what I
learn
mean?
from one another.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
Shine.
yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
and accept that there is things that whether I totally agree with you or not, man, there's
Yeah,
still things I can learn from you as a human being.
Yep.
Like I can learn,
exactly,
I
man.
can give you that respect and say, okay, well, let me try my best to understand his standpoint. And this leads us into what our topic is today, which is, I think, for those of us, and for you guys having trauma related PTSD and other things that you have to deal with that are associated with PTSD. I think that leads us into that topic very well because just having an understanding of what we have to do, like being honest with ourselves, like me and Sean mentioned it last night, like, and I mentioned it to you the other day, like, if you've had a head injury, then if you're cognizant enough that you haven't lost your complete brain over, like you're not, you're able to still think. If you have enough conscious in your brain to say, okay, I got a brain injury. Maybe I'm not reacting the way I normally would. Then that gives you that 10, 20, 30 seconds maybe that saves a life or saves your life or makes the
Saves.
gives space for the situation to not be a terrible situation maybe.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So,
It took me a long time. You talking about? You mentioned that having a brain injury, and I got hit by a car in 2006. It was the year I got married.
here I come
We
home.
The guy come home. The first time he saw me coming out of prison was I was in the hospital bed, and I remember him and his dad walking in. I
Mhm.
don't remember anything else about him even being there, man. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
kinda set up a little bit because James
Yeah.
come through the door. I was like,
Yeah.
"Wait a minute,"
Yeah.
and then there was Guy. I was like, "Oh, wow," and then I kinda just passed back out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was yeah. Yeah,
it
he
was
was
about
feeling
8.
pretty good even though he wasn't feeling good. He was feeling
Yeah,
pretty
man, they had
decent.
a I had a morphine pump, man,
You called the red button there?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I'll tell you a story about that. I woke up one time when I was in that hospital, and my sister was in there, my older sister, and uh, I was like reaching around for that pump, going, "Oh my gosh," and I was trying to find it, and I finally found it, and I was like, you know what I'm saying, like right back out, and I couldn't find that pump when I woke up. My sister's a nurse. When I woke up, the next time I opened my eyes, that pump was hanging right there in front of my face, man. I
Yeah.
was like, "Thank you. Yes, I
That's a
love you."
sister.
So that's a good sister. Yeah,
That's the
man.
love of a sister.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
it was
sure.
cool. But
For sure.
all that joking aside, man, the brain injury, man, I spent like 8 days almost, like in and out of consciousness, and
Mhm.
they told my wife I might wake up different. She was scared. She didn't know what I was gonna be when I woke up,
Yeah.
nobody
That
really
is scary,
knew at this
man.
point, and I didn't even know what happened, man. I went out to find my dog, and I got hit by something. It said it was a car. My
You
dad
d
said it looked like a bat or something. What's that,
s
James?
so you can't remember any of, like, the incident before? Like, you lost that memory of the accident itself? Like,
Well, I
getting hit?
never even saw it coming, man. It was
Oh,
from
okay.
behind, I guess, you could
Oh,
say.
man.
I was
Ugh.
looking for my dog. His name was Zeus, man. He was a Doberman mix, and he was my buddy.
Yep.
And he would run. He would dart out the door, and he ran, and I went out to get him that night. And man, I got hit. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
I don't really know what happened. And then what a taxi driver found me laying in the road at like 3 in the morning, and uh they flew me to
So,
Roanoke and everything.
just so I understand, so somebody hits you and then they left?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
we still don't know what
Holy
happened to me, man. For
smokes,
all
man.
these years, yeah, nobody really knows. And I was in and out of consciousness for 8 days.
Which that doesn't help, I'm sure, with the whole PTSD side of
It
things,
does
like,
Well,
not.
not knowing,
Yeah.
like,
not no, I
you know
still don't know,
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, that's one
Wow.
thing and there's a lot of weird circumstances around it too, and I ain't gonna go into all the details because, man, we could be here for a
That's
long
another
time
whole
talking
topic.
about a whole different.
Yeah.
You'd
Yeah,
have a whole
for
nother
sure.
show about that one, man. But as far as the injury, man, it took me a long time, a lot of years,
Mhm.
to realize I had a physical problem that is causing a mental problem, an
Mhm.
emotional problem, things that I can't control. And if I take the medicine that is prescribed, because I'm anti medication, I'll
Mhm.
tell you, I
Yep.
don't take aspirin, I don't
Uh,
take Tylenol. If I get sick, I don't take Sudafed or Dayquil. I go and I put my sweats on and I
mhm.
get in the bed and I'll shiver and shake and sweat it out. And then
Yep.
I feel better in a couple of days. And I've done that forever.
Mhm.
I don't like even taking any kind of medication.
I agree with
Is
you
the whole
there.
point,
Yep.
But if I do, once I realized that I had a physical problem that was leading to the mental issues that I was coming across, because my brain doesn't necessarily produce all of the chemicals it's supposed to produce,
Right.
and it's a and it's not because like of an emotional trauma, which it does happen sometimes. Emotional trauma can 100%
Mm.
cause you to do the same thing, or
Yes, yes, they can.
addiction can cause it. Your body
Yep,
releases so much over time, and then you know what I'm saying. So, but
yep.
then on top of everything, on top of all of the trauma, emotional trauma previously, then
Mhm.
I had this injury that really created a situation where my brain kind of doubled up. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like you
I
got,
do, I do, I
yeah,
do. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
and so you know, uh, with that happening, it took me a long time to realize, man, just take the pills. I opened up a book the other day, and the second chapter of it, opened up, it said, "Just take your damn pills." Right? And this is a
Yeah.
well-known author. I'm not going to drop no names or nothing, but like he well known and respected in the clinical world as a great man of psychological knowledge. And the
Mm.
second chapter is, oh, first word, take your damn pills. And I thought, man, I glad I figured that out just about a year and a half ago myself, man. You know,
Yeah,
and I,
yeah.
but
Did
it's
you
one
have
thing.
trouble with the meds like in the beginning? I know that was the case for me. I was just being cycled on different medications trying to get something to work.
Yes. Well,
That
that's something that is it's very important too, man, to have a doctor who understands
hmm
what you're dealing with and what you're going through. And
yeah.
I was blessed by God himself had to be place this man in front of me at the time he did, because he retired shortly after. He had cancer. His wife
Man,
had cancer, his son-in-law had cancer, and they were all terminal, and it was a horrible situation.
my
This
lord.
guy was a Marine vet, Vietnam guy, and he swore he would never pick up a weapon again when he came home, and wanted to fix problems that he would have. So he picked up books. Well, the guy knew. He knew. And the medicine he prescribed me, and upon further research myself,
Mm.
has a 78% um
Efficacy
work
rate.
rate,
Yep.
for
Yep.
people with post-traumatic stress disorder of any kind.
Wow.
And so he once he I realized that someone was there that was like not just part of the system,
hmm
not just trying to get a paycheck and spoke broken English,
hmm
and
hmm
someone that you had a hard time relating with is the only reason I say that. Nothing to
Yeah.
do with race or anything,
Yeah.
because it's hard to sit down and converse with someone who barely speaks your language sometimes, and especially if
Well,
you're
It
going for a
is.
therapy thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It makes it a
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
difficult situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I listened to the man, and good advice, man, followed pays off sometimes. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
my uncle told me that a long time ago. I had a '79 Ford Bronco, and my uncle said, "Hey, man, this piece in the front, you get it wet and it goes out." And he said, "They're sometimes they go out.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
better get you one and keep it in the glove box."
I
Well, when he told me that, I Amazoned one of them things. You know what I'm saying? Well, so I'm sitting in the parking lot at the gas station. Sure enough, that part went out. Well, I had it. Well, it just shows. At that point, I learned, hey, man, good advice. I'm just gonna follow it. If somebody tells me something I
Yep.
need to do, I kind of go with it. But
Well,
it has to be good. Hmm?
especially in those kind of situations, whether it's a vehicle or
Yeah.
with the injury itself, like you one of the things that I didn't know at the beginning was how sensitive the time frame was between the injury and the actual treatment, right? Like the longer the time that goes on, 9 months
Hmm.
is roughly it. If you're
Hmm.
not into rehabilitative therapy, it just continues to degenerate and degenerate, right? Quicker and quicker.
Yeah.
So that's very good that you got in quick, because I know the process here was very slow, but carry on. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because like the guy, I was like a walk-in patient. Walked
Wow.
in there one day, like, bro, I don't know what to do with myself right now in my head, and told the nurse that, like, man, I feel like it's just so much, so much. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And she took me in there and set me down, and he was like, "Hey, what's up?" Like he didn't even question it. Didn't ever
He
question
picked it
anything.
out right away. Wow.
He was legitimately there to help you. And
Yeah.
I always could tell that with him. And
Mhm.
so that made me realize. Now, I'm not saying if they give you 1,000 pills, I've been
Mhm.
through all of that. It's a matter of finding a doctor who understands what your need is and what your major symptoms are.
Mhm.
You know, you don't want to give someone something that's going to make them pepped up when they're like
Yeah.
hyper
Yeah.
vigilant as can be. Like I got a brother, man. He's just naturally like bug eyed out, ain't he, guy? You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
Hey, it's
Oh,
cool because he's
buggy.
always on edge, man. And he's like,
Yeah.
he's always been like that since he was just a little kid. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, he's a hard worker, great man. You know, but that's just his natural demeanor. Well, if you give someone like that a medication and like uh, will make them pep up because they think,
Not
oh, maybe they're sad. Well, that's the wrong, you know,
not good for him.
it don't work, man. You
Uh-uh.
just, I mean, you got to
Yeah.
figure out the balance and stuff. And I'm no
And
medical doctor, and I guess as you say, this is strictly for entertainment purposes. You know, I guess I have to say that because I'm not certified in any way but life, bro. And
Well, that's the certification that we
yeah.
require, because I've said it a lot, is like, okay, I sit here and I listen to you guys, and I kind of get the same feeling as like when I remember sitting in the penitentiary and having fake ass people come in with some lofty education, wanting to tell me some stuff that they're plagiarizing out of a book as if it's their own, and they
Mhm.
know
yeah,
that that's the way it has to be. But the ones that always resonated with me was the ones that had a real life story, real life cause and effect. Look, dude, I screwed up. I got my ass thrown into prison. Now, what I did was I accepted that I did some things to get me here. And then I tried to move, and I'm out here moving on. And this is where I
yeah,
work, and this is how I'm moving forward. I
this is
got me an
what I do.
apartment. And that's the ones that always inspired me. So this leads me into a question. I have a few questions along the way that I will be asking, and both of you feel free to chime in.
Sure.
But as people that's had injuries or have had any type of trauma related PTSD in your journey and moving forward, I know that it's an active journey. Like you're not complete. Like nobody's going to be like, oh, I'm through now and I made it through PTSD. Now I'm good.
No.
Nobody gets that.
Yeah,
Nobody wins
it's
that
weird.
award. But
Yeah.
have you noticed along in your journey as you've started, understanding basically the science behind what's wrong with your brain, but more so understanding in your own mind, like, hey, I've got to give myself certain leeways, even in my own mind. I have to say, okay, am I reacting? So, with that being said, along in your journey, is there any active practices that either one of you can share with us that you use to try to redirect your mind when you can consciously say Shine or consciously say Zach, you're overreacting, or are you overreacting? Give myself a few minutes or give myself 30 seconds before. My wife just called with some news that hit me by surprise. Okay, let me
Changed
think
my
about this.
pattern for the day.
Let me think
Changed
about
what
this
I
for a
had.
minute
Yeah,
before I
I
react to
understand.
this.
Yeah.
And yeah, is there certain things that you have noticed that once you started applying that have helped you? And I hope I didn't make that a weird question, but
Not
is
at
there,
all.
but
No,
either one of you feel
weird
free
now.
to
Shine,
chime
go
in.
ahead, man,
Yeah,
because I guarantee you we both have something. I
Yep,
would
yep, for sure. Well,
Yeah.
it's first of all, it's always evolving. That's the first thing. But
Yes,
in
absolutely.
the early days, and I mean like the first 2.5 years, because I got mine in 2019, like the official diagnosis, I got 600 volts across the chest, and it exited in my head
Oh
and
my gosh,
blew me
bro.
back. It blew a
Are
hole in
you
my hemorrhagic
serious?
stack. Yep, that's all I can remember is it was 5:58 on a Sunday morning, and I was checking a phase on an electrical panel. It was March,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and the door was one of the we called them coffins, and they were called coffins for a reason because the door would latch open, and
Right.
if the wind caught it a certain way, it would come in. So you're always taught to work with your hand behind your back. So you know what I mean. You're working like this with two fingers type thing, so
Right.
it can't get you across the chest.
Yeah.
Long story short, the wind hit it, boom, kabang. I was in the hospital. The only reason I lived was because a kid ended up coming in. I say a kid because he was a teenager, and he thought my car was running, but I was laying on the ground beside it smoking.
Oh my goodness, bro.
So we go to the
That's
hospital,
insane.
and first 9 months were I don't remember much of that. I remember them taking me to physiotherapy and just kind of they didn't really realize how bad it was. They figured like, oh, you know what I mean? Like they knew that it
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah.
damage to my optic nerve and stuff like that.
Right.
And it was a younger fellow there who had just come out of school, and he was I don't know what his term. He had a bigger term than physiotherapist, but he knew about head injuries, and his brother had had one.
Right.
And he noticed one day I had this kind of liquid looking into my nose. But anyway, that's kind of how we found out how bad it
No, they're
was.
like, what's the fluid around your brain? What's the stuff
The,
called? Is that what you were losing?
yeah,
Cerebral.
yep,
Cerebral
yep. It
fluid.
was
Yeah, that's it.
coming out of
Yeah.
my nose and it was coming out of my left ear. And
Oh,
so it had gotten so bad that like at the beginning we had to have a code word, me and my wife, because I just turned like a bad dog. Like, you know what? I could just snap over anything, right? Like a smell would set me off if the lights flash too quick or
yeah, 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 yeah.
anything like that. So blue flamingo was the code word, which may sound foolish, but it was the only thing that when I would get to that state that my brain somehow went, flamingos aren't blue, right?
Flamingos aren't blue.
And then it would be enough for me to kind of come back into the space. Um,
Right.
and that went on for months. That was bad. That was really bad.
Oh
And
my
I was coming
God.
more
You said
and
that was
more.
the 9-month stage is
Yep.
about when they found the fluid was running out? This was
Yep.
9 months after that happened, you
This
had
was,
fluid.
yeah, during that period. And then once they figured that out, then I got they sent me for like all these MRIs and stuff like that. They seen what was
Yeah.
happening. And then they got me into the CMR, which was another 2.5 years because I had to learn how to keep balance. This part of my face wasn't moving. Like there was a
Mhm.
whole bunch of stuff happening. I was slurring my words all the time.
Mhm.
Um, and it after that, once I got in around people again, because that isolating part was worse, right? Like I was basically here at the house dealing with this, and the memory loss part was the hardest because literally my wife would write on the calendar like what would need to be done that day. And I
Yeah.
swear I would look at that calendar, I would stand there and I would stare at it, look at it, and
Mhm.
I'd recite the two things she put on there for me to do. I would
Mhm.
turn, like about face and take a step, and then I'd completely forget what I was doing. And then I turn back, so now the anger is going to go up again, right? Um, Anger was the biggest part, but the thing that really helped me was something they called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy,
I've heard of
because
that, and I know what you're talking about. Yes, sir.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was one of the quickest tricks that got me from blue flamingo to be like blue flamingo would take me back because I'd already be in that state, right? Like I couldn't breathe and then I'd get in that state.
Yeah.
But then to get those like 5 to 10 seconds, it was a real easy thing. She told me, she goes, look around the room, pick 4 colors. So red, black, blue, green type thing. Then she'd be
Mhm.
like 3 shapes, like triangle, rectangle, circle. And then she'd be
Right.
like 2 numbers, it'd be like 12 and 24, whatever. And then she'd be
Whatever,
like,
yeah.
and then she'd be like one object you see, it'd be table, and then just keep repeating that, keep repeating that.
Yeah.
So that was a big, I guess, to answer your question, guy. Those were a couple of key steps in the early days. Now it's because as you said in the beginning very well, it's a degenerative thing, right? So you end up dealing with a lot of other things, and the skills that I use now, or then I should say, are different than now. And recently, a lot of things have been catching me off guard
Sorry.
because honestly, it's not. It is the things like you said. Like I know I told you here about somebody showing up at the house the other day. I know I won't get into that incident entirely, but this person showed up at my house, and it's like this is my turf. Like, you know what I mean? This is my
Yeah,
territory.
that's your
I've,
place. Yeah.
I've asked you to go away now several times nicely, And I started feeling that heat come up again to the
Oh,
point where like I just had to like, kindly suggest you get out the door and push that behind you because I knew what was coming next. So
yeah. You could feel
it's
it coming on, man.
and I was
Yeah.
doing everything in real time. Like I was breathing, I was doing my shapes of it, but this man just did not want to hear what I was saying, and he wasn't picking
Yeah.
up on that. And I get it if you don't understand it, but like I mean, man,
I completely I completely understand. I have a statement and a follow-up
yeah,
question. First I have to redirect you on, I see nothing about anything that you have talked about as being any I don't see anything degenerating. If anything, I see nothing but growth in your thought patterns and the way that you're able to start processing these things. Now, we may agree that science says that over time, certain things will get worse, but I think we can all also agree that over time we can work a little harder and make sure we're there to back ourselves up on what
yep,
might happen to us and
Yeah.
understand some of these things a little bit better. So I push you up for having that and just be cognizant of the growth that you're making by knowing that and understanding like, okay, the more I can learn, the more
yep,
I can learn to grow with what's wrong with me, the
Mhm.
better I'm going to be equipped to handle that situation. So, as
yep,
you began, like, I know you spoke about in the beginning having a certain word that would help redirect you and understanding that what what your psychiatrist or what people therapists were trying to say was like find a way to give yourself that 10 seconds,
yep.
by naming off those things that you said that they ask you to name. If you just go
Mhm.
through it and think about, you took up about 10-15 seconds by
Yep.
doing that.
Gave
And
yourself
that
time to process everything,
excellent, yeah, excellent
otherwise that
exercise.
you can't think about, I guess.
It's a excellent exercise. And as you start, as you said, you started, growing into understanding like these feelings that you were going to have,
Mhm.
throughout this process, I know that it has to be something that evolves. Otherwise, you do stop growing. Like because it's not like one thing that worked ain't always going. You have to keep exercising more and more growth in everything.
Yep.
Um,
Mhm.
but have you noticed a I know we have talked about our own forms of therapy with music and songwriting and other things.
Right.
Have you noticed a direct relationship, either one of you, in exercising that portion of your brain and saying, "Okay, I'm going to free myself up from all other thought, and I'm going to focus in on this for a little while," and give yourself that. Is that one way that you guys can say that you use to redirect your thoughts from a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week basis or at just when you need it basis?
Yeah, I
Well,
guess.
yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
go
Zach.
ahead.
No, you go, Zach. I went
Well,
last. I'll go
I'll
after.
tell you, I have a thing I do myself, man. I guess it's what they call a decompression thing, you know. I'm blessed enough. I have a pond here at my house, you know.
Nice.
I just go sit there.
Yep.
Right.
It's quiet.
Yep.
Uh Nothing, nobody, me, the dogs, you know,
Yep.
and
What do
if
you
I
try
have
to think about
I
when
try
you're
to
there at
not.
that space?
I honestly, I don't. I guess I try to not think about anything. Maybe how many fish are in the water.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
I try
Yeah.
to seriously like
Seriously,
focus on.
I wanna
Yeah,
know, like, is
I
that
know, yeah, that's a
mm,
great question because even my response like, what do I try to think about? And I guess I try to focus on just what's right there. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because
yeah,
it's a beautiful place,
yeah.
beautiful
Or
spot, and
maybe find some random bug to watch swim
find
across the
some
water
bug to
or
swim
yeah,
across and then watch the salamanders,
yeah,
man. Just
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, you'll find me out there with the young kids trying to catch crawdads, but up there, that's kind of just like I don't know, it helps me kind of clear my head. And I guess I use that the decompression stage, I guess, when I go places, man. I go to
yeah,
basketball games all the time. I got kids. I'm not gonna miss their games, but I
mhm,
know I have to have a balance.
mhm,
I
yep.
have to have a steady balance of like, okay, I can take this level of this. I don't go to all the games, and we all have an agreement here at my house. Like, all right, because I have to have that decompression, that equal time of like
Mm-hmm.
separate,
Mm-hmm.
from everybody. And I just I don't I try to just focus on nature, I
That's
guess,
right.
while I'm sitting there. To be honest, guy, I guess because I'm always looking,
Do
watching
you
for
ever
fish and
do you ever
geese.
take that I know for myself when I have like
I guess
I
that's
guess
be a
some
lot
people
of
would
time.
call it dreaming out loud, but do you ever take those time to visualize yourself doing things that you know you're capable of if you were to try? Do you ever like find yourself lost in that or in a good way lost in that space of what I really am capable or maybe sometimes the exact opposite or maybe lost in a space where you're trying to get yourself out of a negative thought and into something else. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I think it's important that even though we're getting a little bit older, that we give ourselves that opportunity to dream for ourselves
Oh
out
yeah.
loud and
Yeah.
dream consciously dream, not in a sleep. I woke up to a dream, but just visualize. Like that's what I call dreaming is like visualizing like okay, I really could do that if I really like it is possible. Like I am worthy of that situation. I'm worthy of that circumstance. Just like you're worthy of going and watching your girls' games and not feeling stressed.
Right.
You're
Right. Right.
worthy of going and being a coach for your hockey team and not being stressed. You're worthy of that. And I think the
Right.
more that you put yourself in that spot and agree that hey, I'm worthy of being here. There might be times I gotta check out because I just can't take it. But while I
Dude,
can, I'm
it
here.
gets easier. I
Yes,
will say that as far as the crowds and me, and I can speak. Crap, me in big groups of people, I don't enjoy it at all, not one bit. It
Mhm.
makes me go to that state of, like I was talking about my brother, like I just have to see what's going on, and a lot of times I'll be there and I won't even be watching the game. I'm like looking at the doors, you
Mhm.
know what I mean, and
Mhm.
scanning this crowd, and I'm like,
Yep.
why do I care who's
And so
sitting
you're
over
you
there?
you go
And I
on.
have to
Yeah.
remind myself in the middle of this, like, dude, focus on
Yeah.
what you're here to focus on. And my wife, I'm always there with her, and and I was like, I'd make sure I'm like, all right, we're good. It just
Yeah.
helps to
Yep.
have that comfort right
yeah,
there. And then, my
Yep.
family, they're all usually at these games and things, but it's like, even still, I have to take that time and, like I said, step back and go, okay, dude, it doesn't matter to me who's sitting over there. It
right,
doesn't matter who's
right,
watching the gate. We're at
Mm.
a high school event. And if anybody's out there, it's one of my friends who's probably
right,
at the door,
right,
and but
Yeah.
when we go to other places, sometimes, soccer games are good, outside events, softball games, things like that, baseball, outside events, I'm a whole lot better with.
I agree.
Or
Yeah.
or
Yep.
but it depends on that too. Like I don't go to the where we're at, man. There's an old rivalry, Graham Beaver game, football
Okay.
game every year. It's been on the national sports networks, and it's literally one of the oldest rivalries in high school
yeah,
football. And
indeed, yeah,
dude, the first one I ever went to, I was in a uniform playing in it. I didn't even go. I didn't like it. I didn't. Well, I just wasn't. That's not where I was from. I was from Pocahontas, and then I end up here. Well, I don't go to those games now. I wait till it's cold and freezing, and there might be 80 people, and the
yeah, and
band is playing.
that's the parents of the kids, and that's
Yeah,
it.
most of the time it's the people I
Maybe a
know. You
random
know what I
brother or
mean?
sister that had to go because their parents wouldn't let them stay at home by themselves, but
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
Eh,
I'll go get me a game, take in a game like that. You know what I'm saying? Or if my daughter, like, she does the flag thing sometimes, where they bring out the flag and they do the folding and all that, the big flag, and
yeah,
I try to go to those, but I have a spot in the upper corner. That's my seat. It's away from everybody. But even from those kind of games, man, I still come home, and I always take a time to to myself
yeah,
Mm.
to, I guess, reflect on maybe why I was doing what I was doing when I was there, or if how comfortable I was, because most of the time those stages come after I go to one of these events, or
Yeah.
I
you know
find
what I'm
myself
saying?
I get exhausted after that because it's just
Mhm.
even the hockey, like I really noticed over the past 6 months. Because, guy, to go to your question on, finding, sitting and reflecting and taking time, like that's something that I have to do daily, and just let
Yeah.
what's in here
Mm-hmm.
just come and be
Mm-hmm.
like, this one's BS, you know what I mean? This one's
Mm-hmm.
not important. This is not. And then eventually get to a point where I'm like, okay, now I can go do what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then once I go to those events, like honestly, after a hockey game, it feels the same as, just because it's so much noise, there's lights flashing, there's people yelling,
Yeah.
it's everything for sensory overload, right? When I
Sensory
get at,
overload is exactly what it is. I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
and in the half hour, 45-minute drive home, I'll feel this like weight just going, ooh,
Yep.
right? And I get home and then I just need to go. I got my own little room. My son and my wife know it's like, all right, daddy's going to be in there for a little bit. And then I got to do that same process again. And then I'm all right. But
Yeah.
it's a consistent thing. And it does, like even the grocery store, man, like I'm hard pressed to go to the grocery store. I don't know what it is. It's something about the
My
different
wife goes.
smells, the lights, and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, I literally walk in, I
Yeah.
try to turn around, and go back out.
And
I
I'd
have
hate to
walked
get in a
in.
fight with somebody over the ripest tomato.
It's the
No,
worst.
You
I
know
don't
what I'm saying?
care which
Like,
banana is the best.
Yeah.
yeah, but if I
Callaway. I just
picked
want
it
to go
up,
home.
you're not getting it. Okay. If I picked it up first, you're not getting it. I don't care if you've
Yeah.
seen it first. I got it
See,
first.
that's
It's mine.
that's a monkey
I
part of the
will
brain.
fist fight in the produce
Primitive
section
part
if
of the brain.
necessary.
Yeah. Mine. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
one thing just one more before we take us a small little break and get us something to drink and stretch our legs and come back to some more of this. Before we do that, I think that when we have those special spaces where I'm sitting in mine, Zach knows exactly my space. It's just my little spot where I got all my little stuff and I got my guitar, and it's just kind of my little comfort zone at this point. But when we first started this little journey, just a little bit of stress that it took for me to have to come in here, just that alone was enough to make my stomach start hurting. Just that alone was enough to make me start stressing out. And I can remember certain mornings right before we would start, like really feeling that. But then as soon as I started making myself say, good morning, everybody, good vibes, it was like all of a sudden it started welling up in me. So what I came to realize was before I come in here, I start visualizing a wonderful experience, a great experience. I start visualizing that everything's going to work fine on my computer. I'm not going to have no issues. And if I do, I got Shining Tommy I can holler at, be like, hey, fellas, I'm having an issue. I can't get it figured out. Or somebody in the chat's going to chime in and say, hey, bro, it's probably this or it's probably that. So it's like I can start visualizing that. Wait a minute, I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this. Like, okay, stop letting this make your stomach hurt. Stop letting this make you feel this way. And I know that's a small example,
Right.
but I feel like that it leads to big help. Like just for your guys' example, like I feel like when you have those moments of time where you just want to be clear thoughts or just kind of just get away. I think when you have that moment is the time to give yourself the few minutes to visualize the great time you'll have at the hockey game, the
Yes.
great time you'll have at the
Right.
basketball game,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
great time that you'll have watching your daughter or watching your son or watching what the wonderful time you'll have watching the other children have their time. And I think if you give yourself
Yeah,
that
man.
time on the off moments when you're not really in that situation, but feel the fun, feel the love of like, okay, I'm looking forward to going there now.
Mhm.
So I think that it's
Man, I
also
tell you, you
important.
say that
Yep. Yep. And
throughout
you're
this
you're right. Yeah.
basketball season, I did that. You know,
Mm, mhm, mhm,
I was able
mhm.
to do that
Yeah.
throughout the
Because
season. Be able to like by the end, I'm like, man, excited to go to this game.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
know,
think you can set yourself up for failure by not giving yourself a few minutes when you
that's
have
right.
those times to yourself to say, wait a minute,
Yep.
most of the time when I go, I love it.
Mhm.
Why am I letting this bother me? You
hmm
know what I mean? Like most of the time, I really enjoy watching my kid have fun, or I really, there's only a few times that I've went that I ain't really enjoyed it or that something's not been right. And everybody has those moments. Stop feeling this way. And I think it's important to talk to ourselves like that. Like,
Well,
look,
you got to push
most of the
yourself,
time,
and you got to be prepared for what you're going to face. Like those
yeah,
are the two things that I've found have been very effective. It's like, okay, if I
Yes.
know this is what's coming, I know how, and then you kind of build a bit more of a tolerance to it. You push yourself a little bit harder, and
Right.
and then you balance it with that other side of making sure that up here is actually what I want up here as best
yeah,
as it can be, right?
yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Great. Great job, guys. I want to say shout out to Sean Dig. I want to say shout out to ZMB. They're my friends. They're
Shout
not
out
just
to you.
not just random pals, guys. I took a lot of time and I had several questions that I wanted to ask, and I narrowed them down to just a couple, which I've already asked you the one. And after we come back, I would like to take the time. We're coming up on an hour, and I'm gonna play us a song so that we can get up and stretch. We'll do a little song for everybody and we'll get up and get us a little something to drink, stretch our legs. And then when we come back, I would like to dig in for just a little while on just a few things that maybe we feel like have been and it can be leaned in any direction that are just active tools that we're still using and still growing into that are helping us meld some of these things back together that didn't make sense or that have just been displaced that you can feel helps you on either a day-to-day basis or just when when you actively seek that assistance to actively work your brain or because it is a muscle and
Yes,
we
it
have
is.
to make ourselves use it in different ways. So I just want you take a few minutes, think about that, get up, stretch your legs, get you something to drink. Shout out to everybody when before we get started. We'll kind of say hi, see if there's any questions. I haven't even looked at the comments, guys, so I'm sorry if I missed you. It's not on purpose. I wanted to
Hello.
focus on Zach and Shine. I wanted to hear what they have to say because I had serious questions and things that I want to know personally, not only from a friend standpoint, so that I can deal with them in a better way because it means enough to me as a friend to say I want to understand so
I
that
want to
when you
know so I can help.
have that I can say,
Yeah.
bro, I've listened and I heard what you said because the only way I can assure you that I'm here is to give you the credence of, hey, I want to hear how you see it. Now, does that mean I'm always going to necessarily agree? No. The right person is going to always say, okay, well, hey, I agree
Mhm.
with what you're doing now, but maybe we can grow into this or maybe
Yeah,
we
man.
can see ourselves into this situation. So shout out to both you guys. You're doing an excellent job. I appreciate both of you being open and honest with me. I got, like I say, I had a handful of questions because I knew that as we got started talking, the sharing of information and everything would be so abundant that we weren't going to need a whole lot of props or anything like that. But I wanted to key in on this last segment. I really just want to key into some things for the people that may be out there that are listening that are in their journey of trying to come to terms with things that have happened or trying to come to terms with putting things back in place and just understanding where they're at. Some things that we're doing in our lives and things that we actively seek to try to grow into these situations and maybe just a more sharing amongst ourselves, I think is the most important. But I'd like to have that kind of on our minds as we speak in this next little segment about how we're moving forward and the little things that maybe we can do to start applying in each other's lives. Maybe some things that you do that maybe you don't always think about, but maybe now that you're thinking about it, like, hey,
It
this
is
really
funny
works.
because now
You
I'm
know,
thinking about a bunch of stuff.
yeah. So
Yeah,
you can
now I
think
got
about
all kind of stuff going through my
yeah.
head,
So
Yeah.
when we come back, that's where I'd like to lean with. Of course, you guys are
I'm
welcome to
even
share of
taking
any
notes. I'm
if
like,
there's
wait, yeah, I'm
anything
gonna write that down.
um if there's anything that we've shared along the way that you feel like you would like to go back and touch on, obviously I want you to do that. But in this next little part, I think I'd like to see you guys focus in on telling us a little bit about things that you do, and I'll share some things that I do, and we'll just have an open dialogue about that. So, guys, we appreciate y'all. That this is
Yeah,
Guy,
thank you guys.
John, and Zachary at ZMB. I encourage y'all, if you haven't been over, please go and follow them. They're two of my friends, but also just outstanding fellow community members. So we just appreciate y'all being here. I'm gonna play a sound. Let's see, let me find. For some reason, I wound up in the opposite studio again, Sean. I don't know why it
Oh,
does me this way.
I don't know. That's cool.
Actually, no, wait a minute. Now that I think it matters when you're here, then the Guy and Shine studio is open, and then when you're not here, I'm on the solo. I don't have everything in the solo that I have in the morning. So
I'm
yeah, but
just
shout out to
fast.
everybody, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
appreciate you.
play let's see, we'll do Shine
Oh,
Diggs. We'll do Shine Diggs song here because I was trying to find everything, but we'll do Shine Diggs song called Silly Girl. Guys, we'll be back here in just a few minutes and we'll keep up this conversation about PTSD and some real life things that these gentlemen and myself are trying to apply into their life. I see you down there, brother Tommy. I'm not trying to ignore you, my man. I'm just trying to stay on point. But I see you, brother Tommy, in the house. Shout out to Tommy
yeah,
Kenny,
Tony.
keeping it real. We'll bring him up and have him be part of this next little panel for a bit if he's so fit. But
Yep.
shout out to you guys. We'll be back here in just a few minutes.
All right. It's for you, sweetie. All right. Where did you come from, silly girl? I know I just met you, but I can't seem to get you out of my head, out of my head. My favorite song was playing, and you were shaking your hips with little invitation. We were locking lips, and know that I'll never forget you, no matter how hard I try. I can't even find a pen so I can see you again. You gave me your poison, and I breathed you in. And just like my favorite things, you disappear in the end. The end. And as the band was winding down, I couldn't seem to find you in the crowd of faces. Then out of nowhere, you appear without one question. Yeah, we disappeared, and know that I'll never forget you, no matter how hard I try. Can't even find the words to tell you how much you blew my mind. Gave me your poison, and I breathed it in. But just like my favorite things, you disappear in the end. The end. The end. It's just the beginning. Well, you know I won't forget you, no matter how
Can't even find a pen so I could see you again. Give me your poison, and I breathed you in. But just like my favorite things, you disappear. Yeah. The end. The end. The end.
All right, all right. I'm not professional enough to have a killer intro for me and Zach and Sean. So you get the one for me and Sean, and that just has to work. But shout out to everybody for being here, man. It's been an honor and a privilege for me because, as you know, Sean is my co host, and the other half of Guy and Sean, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 to 1 Eastern time. And pretty much anytime he wants to hang out with me on live or whatever, or we want to do something, then he knows he's always welcome. And obviously, Zachary being my best friend and just a part of my life journey since I was about 19 years old and he was about 14. He actually started out as my nephew. And it's been one of these processes. I've seen him go through a world of things. I've seen and obviously still here for myself, realizing the things I put myself through and the things that the world just had to offer me along the way. And then now brother Shine coming into my life and learning a little bit about him along the way. And we've spent a lot of time personally behind the scenes. I'm always, I try to be cognizant, especially of the people that personally come into my life, is I feel it's important as a friend to try my best to understand. And even when I don't agree with them, I always am willing to tell them I don't agree with them, but I try to do it in a way where they understand I'm only doing this because I want you to see that there's another side to it. But just because I'm disagreeing does not mean I don't support you 1000%. And does not mean that I'm not trying to be. Sometimes to be a proper friend is to not always be the one that blows sunshine up somebody's butt, but there is a proper way to come at people. So we've been trying to do that today and share of things that are, we're not telling war stories, but we're just telling the things that's happened and the things that they've been able to actively engage in their lives to help push themselves forward and realizing that, man, it's a journey. They ain't never going to get out. They're never going to get like done with the journey. The journey, as long as they're still breathing, that journey's still here. So shout out to everybody being here, coming through the comments real quick. I want to thank everybody. I see you, Sister Jimena, Brother Clint, Gen X Effect. I see you, Elevated Einstein, brother. I appreciate you being here. Blissfully Renee, Tommy Kenyon's in the house. We got let's see, coming through, guys, coming through. Miss Luciana Success, see you there. Guitar Professionals, I see you there. Shout out to all of you guys here supporting. Sister B, I see you there. Thank you everybody for coming here and supporting our fellow community members. And most importantly, they're my friends, and we're here just trying to grow together and trying to learn together. So shout out to you guys. Ms. Sister Jimena, you are never late. You're always on time whenever you show up. So thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you guys, Brother Zach. I see Brother
Hey, I'm
John
back.
in the house.
Hey, guys.
And I'm going to add Brother Tommy in here. I kind of like the order that we got going here. That looks good. Shout out to everybody. Let me get this
I
banner
like it,
down
man.
here.
Sorry, I'll be quiet.
You're good. Let me get this banner down here out of the way. Yeah, guys, once again, outstanding job today. I think we've done fairly good about staying on topic. I mean, as you all know,
We have not even brought up our stats that we have
I-
to bring up. I mean,
that's
this is amazing to me that how much conversation this has
Mm,
brought out just between the three of us. So,
indeed,
yeah, yeah,
indeed, and that's what I feel like that's where our strength is leaned in at. that. Now, if anybody wants us to share a stat, we have them. But the most important thing is the real life application, and I think just being in front of everybody and saying, look, I accept that I ain't done yet. I'm
Right.
still trying to learn more techniques, more evolve into what I am becoming. Because, hey guys, let's just admit it. All of us as we get older become something that maybe we weren't planning on. Maybe things start to slip, things start to fade, but the more that we're cognizant of it and keep trying. My dad's a perfect example. Just get up
Oh
and keep
wow,
going.
yeah.
Just
Just
get
go.
up and keep going.
Yep.
It's
My
powerful,
dad,
guys.
I feel the
Yeah.
same way about.
Same.
My dad's the same way. Get
Yeah.
up and go do
Just go
something
do something. And they
immediately.
don't even know why most of the time. They
No,
just go do something.
no,
And
because it's real easy to get stuck in in the rut of just not doing anything. Like that was the case for about a year. Like I almost became a hermit. Like I wouldn't leave the house. Like my physical health was getting worse. Like I was dropping weight like crazy. So yeah, that is huge.
I
Like they say,
understand that, Shine.
well,
100%.
you know, so that first step, like they say, just get moving, get doing something, get a routine going. You know what I mean? Like so,
yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
and I can say this too, man. That being said, yeah, it's great to get that routine, and it's great to get going, and to even if it's just in your house. Like I
Mm-hmm.
heard this speech some Navy SEAL captain gave one time. It was on YouTube, and he was talking about make your bed.
Yep.
That was
Yep.
the most important lesson the man said he learned in all the things he ever did. And everybody kind of laughs about it, but like
It's
it made
true.
sense. It
It's
immediately gives you the sense of fulfillment. Like, yeah, all
mm-hmm.
right, I've done this at least,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and it
Yep.
starts your day off on a proper track. Now, do I make my bed every morning? No, but I
No.
don't need to do that. I found other ways. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna mess it up this evening. Why would I do that?
but the
I
concept
mean,
but the concept is all the same,
yes,
like,
it is.
do
It is.
something that gives you a sense of fulfillment,
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like my first sense of fulfillment in the morning is like I make me a pot of coffee.
pot of coffee, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
only
Morning
way,
routine.
That's
Yeah.
right.
sir.
That's right,
Yes.
Get
Tom.
Yeah.
3 non-negotiables that you do before you touch your phone or something. 3 things you do when you wake up.
And
Get
before
started.
bed. If those
Shout
are
out to Tommy
And before
Kenyon.
bed
Yep,
too.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
He don't have
yeah.
much to say, but when he does, it means
It's on
something.
point.
It's like
Well,
that old
there's a lot
commercial with
of
the guy on the plane.
4
Yeah.
Oh,
people
go
on the
ahead, Tommy.
screen trying to just find when I can fit in.
You do good. Hey,
Oh,
thank you
no,
for being here. I didn't mean to not mention that brother Tommy is on the stage with us.
I will be
Sharing.
completely quiet.
Yeah, yeah, no, you won't. We already know better than that. I can make you be completely quiet because I do have the mute power. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah,
mean? But I
you
wouldn't
knocked
do
me
that to
out
you.
of here
Uh,
real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
We'll
the
play magic
king,
tricks.
executive producer.
Yeah,
You
yeah. I
have the
play.
power.
And I'm
He
not
holds
bragging or anything. I'm
all
just
the
saying.
power.
But just having a little bit of fun. Shout out to everybody for joining us. But as we bring in brother Tommy into the panel, and of course I've had brother Shine and brother Zach with me. As y'all know, these fellas, these fine fellas here, have become personal friends of mine, and Zachary's been a friend of mine since my life pretty much started. At the beginning, and Shine has now become a personal friend of mine, and brother Tommy has also. And we were talking about PTSD, talking about things that not only they've been through and they've realized that man, it's part of the process, but we're also going to take this last few minutes, last little bit. I don't want to say a few minutes because I know better than that. It takes me more than a few minutes to answer a yes or no question, so we won't even lean in on that. But
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of touch on some things that over the past few years in your journeys as grown men, because I don't feel like a man's really a grown man till he's lived through some things and been there and done that. And usually that's after about 30, 35, 40 years old. Then you can start kind of listening in on maybe some wisdoms that they've come up with. But I just wanted to lighten the mood up with, some things that maybe you're using now these days, or some ways that you use these days to start that you can just help to start putting things back in order for you. The exercises, that I've spoke of myself, and I know that for you guys, at least for Shine and Zach, I know that music is a little bit of that
Yes,
journey
big
for
time.
you guys. Maybe fishing, it may be some type of other activity that you chose to pick up that you never had done before. But
I
this is the moment where I'd like for you to share that. So feel free to start off,
I
brother
I
Zach.
can go ahead, and if you don't mind, I'll
Hit
grab
it,
this one by the horns, man, because
hit it.
dogs, dude. For
Yep.
me personally,
Mhm.
my dogs. My wife pointed it out to me the other day. I never even really thought about it like from that perspective, because I've always, the first thing I did when I got home was get a dog.
Yep.
And that's the one that I went out to get the night I got ran over. You know what I mean? I still had that dog, and um, they have truly given me, no matter what, you have a sense of order over something. That makes sense? Like, no
Mhm.
matter what, that's your, and he's like your, that being said, he's as loyal as you'll ever get.
Yep. Yep.
He listens to everything you say, even if anything and
Without
everything,
bias.
Yeah.
without bias. There is no bias in a dog. If you love the dog, he gonna love you, man. You
And
know what
even
I'm
if
saying?
you don't, sometimes he's gonna
And
Yeah.
love you.
even if you don't, he's still gonna love you. It's
Yeah.
like the old adage, dog spelled backwards is God. And
Indeed.
like, there's a lot more in that, I think, because uh, dogs, man, somehow go back a long way, I think, and represent the domestication period. Because like our hand over the animal, so to speak, and they're amazing creatures in themselves. And me, I have found a fulfillment of some kind where I have that partner.
Mhm.
If I go in the woods, I got a point man.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Now I got a
Sees and
point
hears
man and
things
an
that
A
you
gunner.
can't. That point man
Yeah,
can see and hear
at
things you
night,
can't.
man, with a dog at night, if you guys have trouble sleeping, get a
Mhm.
dog that will be by your side forever. He could be a little dude, he could be big as a house.
Yeah.
Whatever kind of dog you choose, he'll let you know. He'll
Yeah.
let you know if something's out there. And then I can go lay my head down peacefully at night, because I know if something's at my house, my dog's gonna let me know. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I don't have to be startled out of my sleep by something completely unexpected. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
I really, like I said, this is just me personally, man. And I happen to live in an area where I have room to let a dog run too. It's fun for them. It's fun for me because I get to throw the balls. They go.
Yeah, they
There's
got a
50
great
some
life.
acres here. They got a great life, and
Yeah.
uh, with all that, man, it's like the companionship of a dog is amazing to me. Just because, like you said, yeah, they'll come back to you when you do get mad at them for doing something. They're just like, "Hey, man, I still love you, dude.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
Mhm.
what's up?"
Yep.
you
Yeah.
know,
And I
and
think I know for myself, having a little dog, and I didn't grow up with
yeah,
animals in the house. My dad didn't, he didn't allow animals in our home.
right, right,
We were allowed to have a dog outside, but that's different. But having a dog inside and just seeing that every single morning that dog lives
oh,
in the blessing. That dog gets up and
yes,
loves being awake every single morning. He wags his tail and looks happy every
yes,
single morning without fail. And that
hmm
somehow triggers my mind into saying, well, if he can
man,
do it, I can do it.
yeah,
He's happy to see me. I'm happy to see him. And then that starts, like Tommy touched on, a routine of, okay, well, I
hmm
get my little dog set out and then I go brush my teeth. I use the
get my
bathroom, get
coffee,
coffee
boom,
made,
boom,
and
boom,
and
yeah,
and, and it does. It sets me on this good vibes pattern. Like, okay, man, instead of starting off in like negative Nancy mode, because I'm that dude. I got a crossroads every morning. Like
mm,
I can go down a path where I'll wind up being mad over something that was 35 years ago, and
right. And
like,
on
Yeah.
you're still mad at
Yeah.
yourself.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Be like, man, but I'll spend it'll be 1 o'clock in the afternoon, be like, dang, I am still thinking about something that was like I can't do nothing about it. it's 30 some years ago. The people that I'm probably thinking about that don't even remember the situation, and I'm the guy that's sitting here pondering over it, you know.
Yep.
So, you know, my dog, to just to close out my point on you talking about your dog, I do see what you're saying, man, because there's something about the fact that, I guess to round out my point is for me, there's something about knowing that he's counting on me. Like,
Yes,
I've got to
that's
go
what I
open
think.
the
Yes.
door for him. I've got to go open that door. I got to get my sorry tail up. It's 4:30 in the morning, but my little puppy needs me. He needs to
It
go
makes
outside
you
because he's doing what I asked him to do. He doesn't want to go to the bathroom in the house. He wants to go outside like I trained him to do. It's my responsibility. I got to get him up or get up and go get him out. And then it's also my responsibility to love him because he's loving me. He's wanting me to just show him some attention for a few minutes this morning. And it does set you in a go pattern. I swear, I'm with you, Zachary. I do agree with that on that point.
Yeah,
About
because it puts you in a spot where you have to do it.
yeah.
I mean,
And
what are
there,
you gonna do? Let the dog starve and let poop
uh,
build up in your house floor?
right,
You know what I mean? Things
right.
like that. Or if you
Right.
got a puppy, you train it. You
You
teach
train
it
it.
things to do, and it puts you in a spot to where, if you do those things, then that makes you a bad person, in my opinion.
Well,
If
indeed,
if you're
indeed.
gonna like starve a dog to death and
Oh man, you should
and
starve to death
and and I
yourself.
mean, they should, like, let you starve to death
I
somewhere,
think
you
you're
know?
worthy. I think you're worthy of whatever death you would allow your pet to endure.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
think
that
that's the
sounds
death you're worthy of.
yeah,
So if
I'm
you're
good
a
with
man that's
that.
willing
Yeah.
to tie him up on a chain and let him starve to death, hey, I'm the
Yes.
dude that would tie you up on a chain and let you starve to death.
Man,
And
that
I
they
wouldn't feel not one bit bad about it at all. Matter of fact,
uh,
I'd put you on the same chain that starved to death dog's on, and I'd let you look at that until you did find your death.
yeah, that's
You
just
know what I
bad,
mean? It's
man. It's
Yeah.
bad. I
like,
hate
I,
that.
I completely understand that. Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
as we go around the circle, I want to get Tommy and brother Sean. I know that from Tommy's angle for sure, that he has you have an animal as well, right, brother Tommy?
Mhm.
You have a dog that I know that obviously to
Yep.
be a pet owner and have one in the house. I'm
You
sure that
understand, what?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's hard. It puts
Yeah.
you in a spot where you have to do things.
Yeah, even if you
Especially
don't
being
feel
in an
like it.
apartment, then now it's not just letting them out and go walk, but I incorporate that into routine. I do 20-minute walk,
That's
and
Yep.
it doesn't even
beautiful.
feel like I'm just doing it just to walk the dog. I'm doing it for me too, going
Yeah.
That's
outside
right.
with the
That's right.
dog.
That's right. That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
That's right.
That's your time. The dog time turns into Tommy time. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying?
It's a
Which is
sense of
great.
fulfillment on both
Mhm.
sides. It's like, okay, I had to do this for my dog, but I
And then
also did it because I like doing it, and
and
it
then
was
once
fun
you
for
did it
me.
a couple times, you find, wait a minute, this is good for me too. And then you find that routine Tommy's talking
Yeah.
about.
One of the
Yeah.
reasons I like being in an apartment because it gets me actually out walking too.
You have to
Yeah.
do it. You have to because
Yeah.
you can't just let the dog go outside and do its thing. You have to
Mhm.
physically take him for a walk.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely it's the man, dogs and animals, something like that that makes you have something that you feel like you have to go do. And I know me and Sean have spoke on it many times about just feeling like like with our videos, it's our way of like being creative, sharing a little bit of something, having a way of reconnecting things. Because I'm telling you, there is so many of my videos that in the process of making the video, I was placing things together my darn self. And
Right.
it
Right.
was
Right.
like,
Yep.
it's like, okay, I'm gonna share this, but really and truly, this was my blessing. This was for me because like the one video, man, I come up with this little saying like out of the blue, and it was like I had thought about like I'd never put it into those terms until that video, but it was like, all along the what I thought was good and bad in my head was nothing more than me talking things over with God and getting things worked out. It was not good and bad.
Figuring it
It
all
was
out,
just
man.
me talking things over and getting things worked out and figuring things out and sorting things through. So it's like there are those moments during, like, for me and Shine, I know that I only speak for that because we've both been content creators, and I know for Tommy, he's been a content creator now.
Yep.
There's that release of, okay, it's somehow it's a therapy in some ways. Even if you're trying to do it to help others, it's helping you too. That's why you're doing it. It's kind of why you're doing it in the way that you're doing it.
Well, I think personally that it allows you guys to be in the public without being in the public. It gives you that feel, but not the pressure of the overwhelming crowd or
Well, and we're
whatever it may
family men.
be. And
It's
now,
like, how much in the
yeah.
public can I sacrifice? Like, I can't go travel the world right now. I got kids and I got a wife, and it's like,
Right.
that's
It
not
helps
an
to be
option.
able. This right here is just cool. I mean, it's
You
amazing.
get
You
to,
can link up from everywhere, man.
Yeah, I've been there and done a lot of that already too. You know what I mean? Like the I don't know. I don't want to say just that lifestyle got not. It was just something I didn't really want to do anymore, and like that was, I don't know, probably part of where everything ended up. And it's not to say that I'd never do it again, but it's definitely not as easy as it once upon a time was. You know what I mean? To be out in that environment. But yeah. But going around, like for me, fortunately, when I got hurt, and what started bringing me back to a point of wanting to do something was my son was young. He was like 2 at the time, because he's what, 9.5 now. So he between having him and wanting to be the best version of myself I could be, that motivated me. And this was very difficult, because you know how it is, like, you have your kids, or your kid in my case, and you're trying to teach them something, or they're doing something, and then all of a sudden that flare up starts happening. That's the best I can describe it. And,
Right.
and you're going, why am I even getting? And there's a lot of reasons for that, but being able to recognize it and not lose my patience with him, like in a way that I experienced myself when I was younger, and being able to catch that was when I knew, okay, maybe now I might have a bit of a handle on that. And honestly, him and the support of my wife, because it takes a lot to deal with somebody that's going through that kind of situation. So
Yes, sir, it does.
the two of them, I mean, without them, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you, just because I would have, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have known what to do with myself. I wouldn't have, and that's the truth. So they're the two biggest supports. That, and keeping myself like guy knows that I walk a lot and I don't sleep much. And I walk a lot at nighttime and early in the morning, because there's about maybe 4 hours a night that I'll sleep, and that's not in a row, because I still wake up and I check the house and I check, you know what I mean, everything, make sure things are safe, and then I'll go back in and kind of half be in that half sleep stage. But yeah, that really helps me continue. Like, he's still not quite that age yet where he don't want nothing to do with me, so I'm really trying to maximize that and getting out. When I walk, like, I live in a pretty suburban neighborhood, but I'm fortunate that there is still woods and stuff like that around. That's where I go. Like, I don't care if it's the middle of the night or whatever. I get out there and I just kind of feel, all right, whew, you know what I mean? Relax. And then those things just kind of shake off a bit, and I can wind down. But yeah, that's the biggest one for me, I'd have to say, because we don't have dogs here. We're not allowed. But
yeah, I understand that.
yeah. So, but I love dogs, just for the record. I always had before we moved here. I always had shepherds, man. Those were my dogs. Yeah,
I have a Great Dane and now a little Dachshund puppy. It's funny because I got the big one and the little one.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, here's my puppy. There he come roaming through the house. I'm a little dude.
He looks like a real killer, real terrorizer.
Yeah. Tough guy.
I'd say he's hell on a slipper.
Oh my god!
A true guard dog.
Shoes, bro. Oh yeah, that's right, Tommy. He's a tough guy, ain't you? Shane?
Oh yeah,
buddy.
Yeah,
he ain't big as a nothing.
Guys, I'm gonna I'm gonna go through here and let you guys have a chance if you have anything else you want to share upon, and then feel free to chime in. I'm gonna say hi to everybody in the chat and just thank them for being here. We got Marit's vlog. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Thank you, Magic Healing,
Quick
Miss
Daniel
Smith.
Stalk.
Thank you very much for being here. Blissfully Renee, I see you there. Thank you so much for being here. And Brother Gen X, Clint, thank you very much, man. Tommy Kenyon in the house, thank you for coming in. Appreciate you sharing with us, man, always. Let's see, coming on, coming on. Sister B, shout out to you, girl. Thank you very much for being a member of the community and just a friend. I appreciate you. I see you, Mom. I see you, Mom. Yeah, yeah, me too. I'm thankful myself, Mom. I am very thankful. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate you being here, Mom.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Shout out to all of you. Elevated Einstein. Thank you, brother. I see you, man. Never to miss anybody, not on purpose anyway. I'm trying not to. But shout out to all of you guys for being here. Peyton Samuels, I see you here. Miss Lashana, I see you. Thank you. I appreciate all of you joining in. And this is an exercise not only for us to create content, but far more importantly, to be able to share with one another as friends and have an opportunity maybe to grow in our friendship more, but maybe have an opportunity to give others a real life example of we're all grown men, and we all are proud, but we're also trying to humble ourselves into the things that we know we have to do to be members of society, and we realize that we're going to fall short, and all of us are, but we also know that there's things that we can do to help ourselves to enjoy the time that we have to spend, just like Shine and Zach were sharing about, just being uptight about going into crowded situations and things, and just having things that maybe instead of every time you go it being a terrible situation or being stressful, maybe only half the time. Hey, and if you get that, you're winning,
Yep.
or
Mhm.
whatever. So, I just appreciate everybody being respectful and just always good vibes and just throwing out nothing but good, solid stuff during the chat, because I haven't been really keeping up with it through this conversation, because I really wanted to give the time to these gentlemen to share and really just let them talk about what they want to talk in the way they want to talk about it, but maybe answer a couple questions of my own that
Yeah.
maybe others would have. So once again, fellas, I thank you. If any of you would like to say anything, just a
Yeah.
few seconds before we close out, then feel free to address everybody. Whatever you feel led to say, please go ahead, Zachary.
Oh, I was gonna say back to the dogs, man. This ain't really very important, but it's funny how dogs also can like tell when something's wrong.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like I've heard of them training dogs to even sniff out cancer and things like
yeah,
that. But that's
yeah,
that's cool. That's a lot of training. But I'm talking about just the innate stuff that the
yeah.
dogs
Being
do.
able to sense it.
My old dog, man, when I lost my leg, they brought me home from the hospital. Hey, that dog came in there and laid on my bed and put his head on my knee and laid there. You know
Uh,
what I mean? Like he knew something wasn't right. Like, wait a minute, Dad's missing a leg here. What
yeah,
happened? You know,
yeah.
he was like,
I
what?
used to lay on this thing. Where
Yeah,
is it
well, where'd that
at,
fuck
man? Yeah,
go, man?
yeah,
And like, but it
yeah,
seemed like he could put that together, and he knew when to
yeah,
to go.
yeah,
And it's funny. Another dog, man, wasn't even my dog. Was my mother-in-law had a dog. They had that dog forever. His name was Zoe,
yeah,
and I had to go eat dinner one time. I took the kids, and I went and ate dinner with the family. And my wife, she was sick, and she stayed home. But I was taking the kids to the in-laws. But I say to the in-laws, guy, you know how they do on dinners,
yeah,
man. There'd be
yeah.
everybody and their brother there, and it's really cool how they do that as a family. It's amazing. Like, but uh, that dog, I was sitting at that table, man, and I'm nervous, honestly. Even though these are my people, I'm still like, oh, and then the grandpa, the grandfather, the old man, he made me so nervous. I don't know what it was. He was very quiet. I think that's
Yeah,
what it was. He just
yeah,
took everything in like,
yeah.
mm, mm,
You
mm.
didn't know if he had a shotgun up underneath the
Yeah, I
table
didn't
or
know
not.
what, I was
Yeah,
like, man,
yeah,
But that dog Zoe, man, I'll never forget that. I'm sitting at that table, and it was cool because this old man, you can't argue with nothing the man says. So if he tells your kid to put like whatever, and like I remember my daughter was like putting butter on her roll or something, and it was like this chunk of butter, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Cadence, it's not, you don't need to do all that. And he's like, that's how I like it. Eat it, Kate. And then you
Yeah,
can't
but
argue with it,
yeah.
because he's the
I mean, he's
the patri
107. I mean, what do
he's
I
the
say? Yeah,
patriarch of the
yeah,
whole thing, and it's really cool. I like that's the memories that stick
yeah.
out. It's things like that, and it's like, but that dog, man, that dog Zoe, the whole time I was sitting at that table, was sitting between my feet, and I was petting her on the head.
Yeah,
She knew. She knew I was nervous. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's like they can
Mhm.
sense these things. I
Oh yeah,
swear they can. They just know. That
yeah.
dog came and sat there for a good, I don't know, 10 minutes at the dinner table. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like just
Mhm.
with my hand on her. Like
that's
this
awesome.
is where I need, and it really eased me up. I
Yeah,
swear it did. Like
yeah.
by the time the dog left my feet, I'm like, this is cool, man. What am I even thinking? Why is
Right.
this even
Dog
in my
likes me.
head?
I'm good.
These are my people.
Yeah,
What am I doing this for? You know what I'm saying? And it's funny how me, the dog, easing from, like I say, it's just me personally, but it eased the tension for me
absolutely,
personally. I'm like,
absolutely.
oh man,
Hey, to
like
me,
a comfort spot for me.
if it works to ease somebody's stress level, to me, then there ain't nothing there. Then that's the right thing to be doing. What if that's what works? Then that's what works, and it's been proven. That's another one of those things that I mean, we can also show you science based that man, animals and things like that, they totally bring down your stress level, and they totally do sense these things, and just know when you need that little extra lick on the face or whatever it is that snaps you out
Whatever
of
it is,
something.
man, the extra
Uh,
tail wag or
yeah,
whatever it may be, man,
yeah.
helps me. I know.
Well, great job this morning. Zach, you did a great job, man. I push you up.
Thank you.
Wonderful,
Next
wonderful
time we'll
job.
bring up some stats and things,
Yep.
and
Yes,
we'll
sir.
go over, get a little more in depth into that side of it, maybe a little,
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm
because
excited to and next time I'd like to start marrying some of these concepts into exactly what happens during drug addiction and the substance abuse side of
yeah,
things, and that you're creating trauma to your brain
Mhm.
with everything that you do like that. And you have to accept that. The only way to move forward is accept, like, okay, this is where I'm at now.
this
This
is
is
what
some
I
of the
got.
things. Yeah,
That's
this is some.
that's key. Like if I was gonna wrap it up, no matter what you're dealing, or you know what I mean, add to it. Sorry. The one thing I'd say is once you become aware that you are dealing with something, my best advice is to hit it head on.
Right then, go get it.
Don't wait. Don't let it
Yes,
swell because it's hard to get out of. It's hard enough to deal with in the first place. So do it for yourself and do it for the ones that you love, whatever it is across the board. I'd have to go with that because the downtime it just amplified the negative side of things. So yeah, don't
yes,
wait. Don't wait
and
on any of
uh,
it.
just to add to that, and things that are productive for
Yep,
you may not seem productive to other people. Just
correct.
remember that it's not the same for everybody.
Very well
Like me and
said.
Guy, we were talking about
Yep,
how our dads are get up and goers. Well, my dad feels like he has to go do that or he ain't accomplished anything. I can
Yeah,
learn a chord on my guitar and get that same feeling of accomplishment.
hmm,
You see
absolutely.
what I'm saying? Like you
yes,
you
Yeah,
I
you
do.
have to find what's
Yep,
right for you
yep,
and work with it and just make sure it's on a positive path
yeah,
and it's not leading you down a bad street, so to speak,
yeah,
keep
and
yourself
yeah.
balanced, man. Keep yourself balanced. You
keep
know.
yourself
Yep,
balanced
and
and
and understanding that those forced times that you create in your life that you learn something new creates connections back where maybe you have lost. It
correct.
starts putting things back because
yes,
you're like, oh, my brain can do this.
I
Your brain
Yep,
can do that.
realizes, oh snap, I can learn a new bit
yep.
of information if I
And
force myself
that's
to. So
100% science. You start
it's
reconnecting the neural
100% science.
pathways by practicing, and then
Yes,
new things will
it is
start
a
firing.
muscle.
Bro,
It
Yep.
is a
I have
muscle.
like when me and my wife first got married, I legitimately, and she would sit down like on the couch beside me, and we would watch a movie or something. Like she would like reach out to touch me, like like lay her hand across my back or something, or like you know what I'm saying, nothing
Yep.
crazy, but it's like lay her hand over there, and I would like
Jump, pull
instantly,
back.
dude.
Yep.
It took me like 10
Mhm.
years to stop doing that with my wife.
I know.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And
I
and
do.
it's but now I'm like,
Yeah.
man, yeah, well, yeah, that's cool. I don't
Mm-hmm.
even
Mm-hmm.
it don't yeah, but it's like, dude, with her of all people, I shouldn't have been, you know what I mean? But it was like I would immediately tense up.
Well,
Yep.
You
see,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like a
Well,
natural reaction is just tense
exactly
up.
that's what's happening, right? Because now everything is a shock. It's a jump, like, and it takes
Yeah.
practice to get used to. Even with, like you say, your
Yeah.
wife, I
I
completely agree with that. Even
Yeah.
my son, like sometimes he'd come up and he'd go to hug me from the side, and
And you'd
I
be like,
twist on
yeah,
him fast and be like,
yeah,
whoa, and then be like, whoa,
whoa.
sorry, buddy, like. You gotta make sure because out of my peripherals, especially if something comes out of there, it's
Yeah.
an
I would like
instant.
to I'd like to just to say on top of what you guys are saying is like what I hear is that I'm hearing men, recognize that this behavior that I once had, I realized was not the appropriate response, and I have now trained myself to not respond that way because I
Yes.
said to myself, that's not the correct response.
No,
The
Not
correct
for this.
response is,
Yes.
oh well, hey, honey, come here.
exactly.
Come here, babe. What's
So,
up?
or hey, son, come here.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
and that leads us to our next episode. Is we're going to talk about the fact that just realizing that, wait a minute, this thought is not correct, and I'm going to actively seek
I'm going to
that I
challenge
find
that
a
thought.
different way
Yep,
to deal with this
that's right.
situation. And
That's
and
right.
Yeah.
it starts melding into other points of your life that you don't even realize. It's like, okay, once I learn to deal with this situation, then other situations you don't even realize that you're going to have in your life, it's going to prepare you for them because you're going to
Yes.
have those tools and that worked muscle. Your brain is a actively worked muscle, just like a bicep, tricep, or anything else. If you want to keep it strong and keep it healthy, then you have to actively seek something that makes it grow, makes it work, makes it keep strong. So
Right.
I once again have to just say I appreciate each and every single one of you. Tommy, is there anything that you would like to add before I close this thing out? But I know that you're a seasoned pro with the saying hi and shout outs anyway, and knowing all that, and also just knowing, hey, you say what you feel like at this moment, brother. We'd like to hear from you, man.
It's, yeah, so I put it in the chat. My three things I do, and like Zach said, it's different for everyone. What's I'm productive with doesn't necessarily mean what Shine's productive with, or Zach's productive with, or
Right.
Guy's productive with. We're all different.
Yes,
But
sir.
when I find when I'm getting creative after I go out for the walking, that's actually my second one, going outside. My walking, my routine. I get in creative, listen to music.
Mm-hmm.
Second is go outside, and two is getting collaborative, join a show like this, or be on a team and start a team like what I'm
Yeah.
going to launch, what I'm currently doing. And the last thing I want to say is later today, I put that in chat earlier too. 1:30, I'm going live with coincidentally someone named Zach, who
Right.
I've a
I like him
former
already.
coworker,
Me too.
former coworker, high school classmate,
Cool.
and we're gonna get some real. He said nothing's off limits. I talk about being manic and bipolar and everything. So
Okay.
that's later today. I'm gonna keep it real. Like I'm gonna probably get a little more than a bargain for when I called my show "Keeping It Real." So
I
Okay.
like it.
we're gonna keep
I
it
No,
real
like it.
later
I
today.
think I think that's fantastic,
Well,
Tommy.
as long as you keep your clothes on.
From the waist up, right?
Yeah, we don't care about from all we can is you
Keep
know.
it real covered up.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real, baby.
But shout out to you, brother Tommy. We appreciate your openness and honesty,
Yes.
and as I say
Yeah,
all the
it's
time,
so great to hear
um,
people open up, anybody and everybody. Man, I tell you, you don't have to talk about specifics with
No.
people to open up about things.
That's
No.
You
right.
know, like a lot of people think you got to tell them a story.
Wow.
Man, no, you don't. You just got to tell them how you feel, and it doesn't have necessarily include what it is that even causes you to feel that way. Just to get it out there, anybody, it helps.
Yeah, it does.
And trying to find this thing like we got right here, like you guys got going on. Anybody that you can, man, to get it out,
Mhm.
even if it's to the dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir. Yes,
I had
sir.
an old man tell me go talk to the tree one time. It'll never talk back, he said. And I'm like, and it'll listen
Hey,
to everything you got to say. I mean, it's silly. It sounds silly, but it's kind of like
But
John Wayne wisdom. You know what I
well, it's like,
mean?
have you ever seen, they'll take, there's some, one of the psychological things they'll do to show you about like brain overload, if you want to call it like that, is they just
Right.
take a cup, right? And they put 3 ping pong balls inside of it and they slowly start pouring the water into it, right? And then the
Okay.
balls start coming out and overflowing.
Yeah.
Same ideology. It's like,
Yeah.
if I speak this out loud or I write it down, that's another good thing that I forgot to mention is I write down a lot
Writing
of
is
stuff.
wonderful. Yeah.
And that they've proven that that's like a natural pressure release valve for like all that stuff that's in there. And then boom, it's like I literally throw the book when I'm done and off to the next thing right now.
Mhm.
So yeah, passing the skills forward, I find is what's important and relevant in the science behind it, which we'll be showing in another time. But rather than focusing on the war stories, as I say,
As
you
they
know what I
say,
mean?
yeah. Like me,
Yeah.
guy said earlier, uh, we don't want war stories. We want
No,
your stories. You
that's
see what
right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a big
There's a
difference.
big difference, man. Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
uh, there are places and there are shows and things that go, and there are
yeah,
people
man.
that go
Yeah,
in there, and that's what they do. You
Yep.
know, they tell their war stories, and that's
Yep.
awesome. I love
Yeah,
that. I
That's
don't
good.
watch them a whole lot,
No,
that's
but it's
fine.
great
Yeah.
that it's out there for people to get an understanding.
that's right.
But you don't have
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
be the guy sitting in the chair telling the war story
No,
to get the point across about what you got going on.
That's
that's
You
right.
right.
know,
Indeed.
Yes, sir.
Indeed.
and
Yep.
and and try to surround yourself with understanding people.
Mhm.
Understanding people,
Mhm.
negativity is the last thing someone needs.
And be
You
proactive.
know,
Be proactive is a big
people.
thing. Be your own
Yes,
advocate. Like if you're going to be around people and they're going to become part of your life, they should know these things, right?
yes.
Because sometimes I know I can get squirrely and people are like, "What in the heck's wrong with that
What's
fellow?" It's
wrong
just
with
like
you,
I'm
man?
you know what I mean? And I don't like doing that, right? So
Yeah.
because
Right,
then
right.
after you feel foolish and all sorts of things. So it's like, no, man, I
Yeah,
should have
you
just
just
said it.
It's
you just said
yeah.
something I don't like feeling that way.
No.
If you can key in on the things that you can find that you don't like, when you know what I'm saying at that moment, even it's
Yep.
hard. I say it, but like myself, I struggle with it. I
Yeah,
struggle,
well, I know.
and but there are ways that, to like I don't know, man. It's
It takes
mm,
practice and
it takes
repetition.
practice,
That's the
John.
best
Yeah,
practice
man.
that yeah. And you
Well,
ain't always going to get it right. That's the other part. See, I forgot.
Yeah,
You're not always going to get it right. And the best advice I got for that is don't beat yourself up too bad about it. Just get up, process it. Don't bury it. Don't do that. But think about what happened, and then okay, now I'm gonna move on because the dwelling part there, like I've seen that take more people down than any of the rest of it. It's the back half of it where they're trying to get out, and then they just I can't do. Yes, you can. Yes, you can
mhm.
do it.
yeah,
Mhm.
You
yeah.
absolutely can.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Old football coach always said, "Can't never could, bro."
Yeah. Can't
You
never
know,
could.
you speak it, that's what you'll turn into. You gotta
Indeed. Indeed.
because can't never could, bro.
Yeah.
I'll never
Right.
forget
Guys,
That's right.
excellent conversation, guys. And one thing I would just I'm just going to throw it out there because I feel like it's a good exercise and just a good way to look at things. I know, um, along our journey we start getting more, more and more apt to try different things and try, or maybe we get comfortable. We have certain things that maybe we kind of become laxed on. And I just encourage you that, look for those moments when you can have safe uncomfortable moments
Yep.
and feel
Yeah,
the pressure with maybe it's someone, maybe it's something, maybe it's something you have with you, maybe it is a thought, whatever it is. But I encourage you, as you feel stronger and you feel that desire to want to be a part of things, then seek those uncomfortable moments that are safe, uncomfortable moments
Yep.
that you have a safety net that you can say, okay, well, honey, I'm going to go try this with you, but just know I'm going to drive myself
Yep.
because just know if I get stressed, then
Mhm.
I don't
hey,
want to leave in a bad way. I want you to be able to stay sincerely and finish having a good time with your family. But just know that if I say, honey, I'm just going to go on. I love everybody. Love y'all. Have a good night.
Mhm.
And
yeah,
know that
buddy.
I'm not mad because I'm leaving. I'm
No.
leaving because I feel like it's the best thing for me in the situation that I'm in. But
Yeah,
I was here for an hour and a
Very.
half and I
Yep.
did a really good job and nothing bad happened. I'm just saying that I feel that I've had enough at this moment.
it's time for
I'm
me to
going to
go
go
home.
ahead and
Yep.
go clear my space. And
Yep.
I think that those are the types of situations when we can look at our spouses or our friends and we can say, look, guys, look, I normally don't come to these type of functions, but because of my growth and I want to tell you, I want to be a part of things. But just know that I'm going to come and I'm going to take as much as I can. And then at some point, if I feel like I need it, don't think I'm mad. Just know that I'm just going to go ahead and go on back to my safe spot and clear myself of this situation. But I was here and I tried, and this is me trying. I might only make it a half hour this time. Maybe next time you invite me over, I might make it an hour.
Yep.
Maybe next time you come over, I can only make it 15 minutes, but I was here and I
Mhm.
tried, and everybody gets it. And for those of us
Yeah,
that have friends that are suffering from PTSD, trauma related PTSD, or something they were born with, then it's incumbent upon us to take the opportunities to learn in a very humble sort of way what someone may be going through, and try your best that when you make decisions based on a friendship is make them based knowing that, okay, well, now wait a minute, no, wait a minute, I know that this person wouldn't react that way normally. I know that they don't feel that way. I'm going to give them that I'm going to give them that slack because I'm not letting them hang themselves. I'm letting them just know I love them and it's not a big deal to me. That slack is yours because you're my friend. I
Right.
don't give it because I think that somehow it's the only way you can get by. I give it to you because I think I owe it to you as your friend to say, well, I give you that slack. Hell, that ain't
yeah,
no
I
big deal. You
understand,
know what I
man.
mean?
I
Like I
love
can get
you,
that.
man.
I love you. Yeah, it's like okay,
Love
whatever.
conquers all, man.
It
And
does. It does.
like
It's
we were
like
talking about me all tensing up with Jamie, my wife, for all them years, man. And that was like me being scared of love and not knowing what the feeling really felt like since I was like a baby. You know what I mean? Not that my parents didn't love me. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they weren't very, we just
yeah,
weren't very affectionate people, never have
right,
been, man. My
right.
family splits up at the family reunion.
Yeah. There's more stepsons and daughters at the family reunion than real sons
I
and
think
daughters.
Yeah,
we might be
usually, man. Yeah,
we might be
they the
related, Zach. That's what we might be
and they're
related,
all
man.
yeah, 'cause, they'll
My
all be
family
doing
tree
their
only has
own
one branch.
And it's broken.
broken branches, your
Like,
family tree guy. Yeah.
some people call it a stump.
But, like with my wife, like I've
Uh,
told you guys before, we joked, me and her, I tell her, I'm a Christian, Christ is my savior, and the joke is that she's my earthly one, my earthly savior, because I like you said just a few minutes ago, Shine, about how you can 100% put your faith in that, and like you have you you know that she is the reason that you're probably still here. Like
Mhm.
with me, I know I was going down a really, really bad path. You
Very
know what I'm
fast,
saying?
very fast.
Yeah, it was spiraling in my
Yeah.
head, and
Mhm.
and like it just she came along at a perfect time in my life, and that it just happened. It was the perfect time in her life, and we only dated for just like 3 months, and we got married. We've been together 19 years this year. And there's an understanding with
That's
her. It's just
yeah.
I can't find with anybody. She's a it's amazing, and
It is just
it's
it is
very important to
beautiful.
have that.
Yeah, it
If
is.
a man, if you can, I am so blessed. I can say that with my wife, she's come a long way with me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
she's been through every step
I
of
can't
me
thank her.
learning
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, that's it. Like like, cause I mean, like, what do again, not getting too into it, but I'm gonna tell you, most people would have turned tail and cut a long time ago. Like they're,
Yeah, man, no doubt.
mhm.
and for that, I'll be forever grateful. Like I just,
Forever grateful. I'm with you,
forever,
Sean.
Yeah,
yeah.
one video in a heart-shaped tub would have been enough for my wife to be like, "That's enough. That's enough." But for you, I mean,
You
apparently
know.
she's cool
She's
with
got
it.
a high threshold.
Like, I'm already kinda in love with her myself, I ain't gonna lie, you
Golly.
know? Yeah.
Uh,
Definitely in love with
man.
it. That's funny.
That's
Oh, Lord have
funny.
mercy, guys.
Perfect timing, Manny.
Uh,
Yeah. Oh man,
But
but
yeah,
great job this afternoon or this morning, fellas. Good panel, good
great job, man.
conversation, good substance in there. I want to recognize everybody. Blissfully Renee, thank you very much. B, we appreciate you
Yes, we
always.
do.
Um, hey, I seen that you sent me an email. I'll be checking in when I get off here. I'll go and check all that out. I appreciate you letting me know. Sister B, appreciate you, and just know you can text me as well if I don't, because email sometimes I'm a little bit not as good at keeping up, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Gen X, he says, allowing.
I'm
Hey,
feeling
you were talking about that,
better.
but Gen X, and I agree with you, brother. Giving people that space, that need that space, and understand they need that space, that's the healthiest thing we can do for them
Mhm.
as loved ones or as friends. Is if we know that somebody, don't get mad at them because they have to leave or that they can't, like, understand, like, okay, that's cool. Like, all right, I love you for that too.
And that's
Like,
an
I love you for
important
that too. Fine.
that's a
Have a
very
good day,
important
man.
point because it's like one
Yeah.
thing that I struggled with, and I never struggled with this before. Like if I said no, see you later. Like you know what I mean? Like I'd be gone. But
Right.
after the accident, I felt like because of I don't want to word this in a way, but I knew there was a part of me that had changed, right? And I felt guilty and I would push myself to stay longer. I would put myself then in those situations that would recess me. And I
Mhm.
started noticing that, hey, if I do this one time, it would feel like I was on the drunk for 3 days afterwards. And I wasn't. That's how bad my body would hurt. And then I understood what that was. And that was the overflow of cortisol then coming in because my adrenals were just spiking every
Yep.
single time, right? Because I'm holding on for dear life in this situation and nobody else is really seeing it, and that was on me. Like I had to start opening my mouth again and being like, okay, this ain't working. This is putting me down quicker.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
try the opposite. That's always kind of been what's kept me going. Is if this ain't working, it's making it worse. Well, maybe what's the opposite of that, and let me start there and see if
Yeah.
this works, right?
And
So
and
yeah,
that
Yeah.
also leads us back to the topic of, or to the point of, give yourself those times when you have that relaxation point wherever it is. Zach was talking about his pond, mine's my little room, Sean's is for a walk,
mhm,
Tommy's is for a walk, whatever. But during those moments, taking the cognizant time to say, okay, wait a minute. I actually do love going and watching my girls play basketball. And
right.
99.9% of the time, I have a great time. So you can live those moments and realize the love that you have for it without ever being in it. but preparing yourself a little bit, like, hey, wait a minute, this really ain't, most of the time ain't a stressful situation. Nothing ever happens. It's all good.
It's
That's
always
the times
cool. Yeah.
to like let that sink in. Like, wait a minute. Okay, well, when it comes time for this to actually happen, I can fall back on this and say, now I've already visualized this. It always happens pretty darn good for the most part. So I'm not going to let myself go in thinking it's going to be a negative. I'm going to go in thinking positive, but if it turns out started being, I can always
Like,
hit the door and be like,
well, like you said
Have
just a
every
minute
plan.
ago,
Yep.
guy, like my wife and back to her, and we take 2 different vehicles. We
yeah,
just about anywhere we go, we're
Yep,
able
me
to do
too.
that.
Yep.
So that's what we do
Mm-hmm.
because I'm able to just be like, all right, y'all have fun, enjoy the boys'
yep,
game, and I go
Yep.
home.
yep.
Right.
I've
You
Yep.
had
know,
my
bye.
dose of this. I'm
And
out.
then I
That's it.
have my time
Yep.
by myself on the way home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So by the time I get here and I get everything, I
Give
feel,
yourself a
good.
breather and
Give
yep.
myself that space.
Yes.
By the time they get home, I'm like, yeah, here's my people. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yep.
So like,
Yep.
it's weird how the brain works, and it's mysterious organ, man, and
And we deal with all this, and it's still the least researched organ in the body. Isn't that
it's
wild?
weird, man. It's
And that,
wild how there's such a low understanding of what we
yeah,
actually have going on, or
Yeah.
as far as
crazy.
public knowledge, what we can find.
It has gotten
One
better.
Guy,
It has gotten
I gotta take
I
this phone
I
call. I
understand,
love you
brother.
guys.
Love you.
one
Good job this
fire
afternoon.
one fire bonus tip that I came up with dot and think about, I'll just keeping in gratitude with it is all those things that I have to do the laundry, I have to go pick up the poop, I have to do this.
better.
Flip the script. Like the one key fire bonus tip tool to mine for what do you call it? A mind reboot. Flip the
Mm-hmm.
script. Instead of I have to do the laundry, I have to pick up my dog's poop, I have to feed my dog. I get to do the laundry.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
get to pick up
Yep.
my dog's poop. That may sound a little weird to hear and say. I get to think about. It means you have a dog to
And you're alive.
enjoy.
You have that ability. Like, yes,
I
no,
get
that
to
positive reinforcement. You know what I mean? Very good. I like that.
instead of I have to, I choose to, I get to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I like that. Yeah, it's a little mind trick, but it's a good mind trick.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like waking up in the morning and deciding that you were blessed to wake up.
Yeah. As
Nothing else
opposed,
has to happen for me today to say like, okay, I did. At least I woke up. I mean, it may turn out to be what I perceive as a crappy day, but I did wake up.
yeah.
I did wake up. So I agree with that 100%, Tommy.
Check.
Gen
Check.
X,
Yeah.
I see you as a man finding that special person, my gal, in my case, that can just calm the inner monster in me, and the most amazing thing I can ask for. It's very hard for me to be irrational when I'm in an irrational state.
Oh boy, I get that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh man.
oh
Oh
man!
yeah.
Once that big
That
red
ego.
machine, well, it's even more than that. It's like it's rage. Is at least for my
Mm-hmm.
case, is what it is. If I hit that, it's not a 10, it's a 12, and those are the things that are the hardest to catch with dealing with this kind of thing. Because
Yep.
before I could do that before. I could stop myself before it got too bad. But after that, no. Like, I mean, yeah, no, it's incredibly hard to get out of it. And even if I do avoid something catastrophic happening, whether it's whatever it may be, the after effect, because I hit that level, takes so long to come down from, and the crash is so hard.
Mm.
So, and I know that, but there's certain situations that you just aren't always going to be prepared for. That's why I said what I said before. When it happens, because it will, don't beat yourself up too bad for it. Just focus on recovering and then mitigating that risk as much as you can. But don't become a hermit. Just understand that that's what can happen, and this did happen. Okay, now this is the effect I'm paying for. Now I'm not going to let that happen again, and I know how to do that. It's by just shutting that situation down immediately. If I let somebody inch in on me, then there's a higher probability that that's going to happen. Whereas if it's just a no, I'm not dealing with this, and frankly, I don't need to explain it to anybody. I'm not dealing with this situation. Like, I'll use the guy at the door again, right? And I should have just shut the door. Thank you. No, bye bye, and locked it. That's what I should have did, but I didn't. I let him encroach, and then that triggered all them things inside you that are very hard to shut back off once activated. So
Yeah.
It starts with a belief or something like educated or program, something that's programmed in your mind. Then you're gonna feel something from that, and that's the important part, to feel it, let it out. You gotta feel the rage, feel the rage, feel the anger, then think, say, and then act, do.
Correct.
Indeed.
Very good.
Indeed,
Very
man.
good.
Indeed.
Very
Good job. Good job, brother Tommy. Great insight. Great
I've
detail.
done some very heavy, deep emotional training like 4 years ago. I got well into that. It's like 2 weekend trainings on emotional intelligence.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But
Awesome.
and it does come down to really having the ability to just be cognizant of yourself, guys. If you can hear it in yourself saying, look, I've had all I can take, then take for granted that, okay, well, maybe I need to separate myself from this for a minute and accept it. Like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's
I can
nothing
go on
wrong
for
with it.
like 3 hours on all
Oh,
of
sure.
this.
Sure. And we're going to have more opportunities for us to share on this, because I think it is important for us to give the topics the credence that they deserve. Magic and Healing, I thank you so much for having your input. There are simple yet powerful things you can do every day to change that mindset. And then she also said, Tommy Kenyon, it's a change of mindset, and it takes a lot of rewiring, but really helps to change how you see life indeed. I think that we are all truly works in progress. And for those of us that are having any type of trauma issues or PTSD issues, then it's also incumbent upon us to know that it's our challenge, not just the people's challenge around us. It's our challenge to try our best to understand ourselves as much as it is the people that's going to call themselves loving us, that they have to try to challenge themselves to understand our mindsets or what's going on. Like, okay, I don't quite get this, but I understand that this is something they got to, that this is the way that they take care of it, and accept that and allow that. And it makes, but there's also those times for those of us, as I say again before we close out, that we have to put ourselves in uncomfortable, safe situations to help our minds accept that, okay, we're not going to get hurt. Nothing bad's going to happen. Okay, this worked again. It didn't, nothing bad happened. Or, okay, just leaving when I felt this actually worked. It made it to where the night was great. I had enough. I left. My family still had their fun. I had my fun. I came home. They came home. Everybody's happy. No harm, no foul. And that's what we're shooting for.
Yep.
That's what we're shooting for, is for everybody to figure out how to not just get along with the people around, but ourselves too, because I'm my own worst enemy, guys.
Well,
I know that for a fact.
Accept, do uncomfortable work, and surrender the outcome. Those are three of the most important steps, because you know what I mean? Accept, you gotta do the uncomfortable work, and it is uncomfortable. It will be. But then when you do it, you just go and try it. That's the surrendering the outcome part, right? So did it work? Yes or no? Okay, back to the drawing board, right? Let's go back. We still accept it. We're still going to do uncomfortable work, but you'll eventually get that surrendering the outcome will bring you everything that you
And
want.
the uncomfortable stuff will start to slowly become more and more comfortable over time. It's like, okay, now that's not uncomfortable no more, or nowhere's near as it was as uncomfortable as it was. So, yeah, man, good job today, Sean. Good job today, Tommy. Good job today, Zach.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you,
Good job,
brother
Guy.
Zach.
Good job, Guy. You're always telling everybody else good job. Good job, you, bud.
Oh man, yeah, appreciate it, man. But brother Zach told me that he had an important phone call that he would get so it worked out perfect, because we're just about at closing. We're finished up, and it's a good time to wrap it. But we're going to finish this, and next time we'll all dig in on the same topic, but maybe lean it in a different direction or go in a little different way. But definitely have a good conversation, because that's what this seems to have turned out more than anything, was just a good open dialogue between some friends about things that they deal with, how they deal with it, and it's realistic, guys. We're not trying to come at you as like watch my watch and repeat after me and snap, you're in a different frame of mind. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about just open dialogue, open conversation, and hopefully you can grab little tidbits that can help you along. It may not say nothing, may only say one little thing that's able to maybe help you see a different way, or be able to approach things in a different manner. So this is me saying shout out to Zach, shout out to at Shine Dig, shout out to brother Tommy at Keeping It Real Media. This is Creating Change. My name is Guy. Always good vibes, but this is our way of trying to approach a topic that we all feel extremely strong about, but we're also dealing with in our own sorts of ways. Some for different reasons than others, but I think that the work is still the same for ourselves inside of our own little brain world. So, guys, this is good vibes. This is Creating Change with Shine Dig, Tommy Kenyon, Keeping It Real Media, and ZMB. Zach Bowman, he's my best friend in the world in real life. But also a friend of Creating Change, a friend of Shine Dig, a friend of Tommy Kenny, Keeping It Real Media, and a outstanding member of the community as well. But shout out to everybody who was here with us. I see you, KC. Good morning. The best good morning in the house. Sister
Absolutely.
B, thank you very much. I did see that you sent me an email. I will get that lined out, and I appreciate you doing that. Once again, thank you to everybody. Gen X, appreciate you throwing some comments in there, and what the quack's in the house. Gen X, I appreciate the insight, because it's important that, man, we all be willing to be open and honest, because one little thing that you might say resonate with me, and it's like, oh, okay, I see what he's saying. I see how he's approaching that, or vice versa, or whatever, whoever it is. So once again, Miss Amina, thank you, our friend. Appreciate you. Yep. Thank you, everybody, guys. I appreciate y'all once again. You did an excellent job, and we'll be seeing you on the other side. Shine, if you want to wait down in the bottom, you
I'll
can.
be there.
Tommy, if you want, whatever, however you want to do it. But for everybody out there, don't mind, hit the like button. Subscribe if you feel so led. Share the live stream out. And my biggest prayer is that for those of you that joined in the conversation today, that you can take something out of it, and if nothing else, then you can see how we feel about certain things, or maybe where we stand, and maybe gain a little connection in a better way with us and understand our thought processes. So shout out to you guys. Great job today, guys. I pushed y'all up. You did an excellent job, and I just appreciate your time with me, man. And until next time, Shine, I'll see you in a little bit. Tommy, I'll see you in a little bit.
Thank
Everybody
you,
out there, good vibes to everybody.
Have a great
Appreciate you.
day.
Yeah, indeed, my man. Thank you, buddy. I've been in a hurry since I don't know when. Gotta bring it on back, start over again. Yeah, I'll bring it on back to a nice old pace, the kind where a guy like me wins a race. Yeah, slow it on down. Take the time it takes to take a real good look around. Yeah, bring it on back to a nice old pace, the kind where a guy like me wins the race. Well, I got me a woman, yeah, she's better than most. Yeah, I get the space I need to really cut loose. Yeah, she slows it on down to a nice old pace, the kind where a guy like me wins the race. Yeah, slow it on down. Take the time it takes to take a real good look around. Yeah, bring it on back to a nice old pain. The kind where a guy like me wins a race. You slow it on down. Take the time it takes to take a real good look around. Yeah, bring it on back to a nice old pain. The kind where a guy like me wins the race. Yeah, slow it down. Slow it on down, guys. Good vibes only to you. Always good vibes. Always good vibes only to all of my beautiful people out there. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.